Hello, welcome to C1 English. This is a podcast if you want to take charge of your language learning journey. My name is Dylan Gates. I'm your host. I'm a teacher, a trainer, a coach, a materials designer. I do lots of things within the English language teaching sector, and I'm here to help you become a more effective, efficient, competent, confident speaker of English. But in particular, I want you to become an independent language learner so you can take control of and take responsibility for your language learning development. So this is actually the first episode of the podcast. So thanks for coming. Thanks for listening. I'd like to, in this episode, tell you a little bit about my plan for this podcast. And hopefully you will be able to decide if it's something you would like to listen to in the future. And the answer, of course, is yes, you will want to listen to this in the future. Well, this is a short podcast. I'm not going to be talking for an hour and a half, anything like that. It's going to contain bite-sized episode. Bite-sized always means small, something you can consume quickly, like a small biscuit. So these episodes are probably going to be about 5 to 10 minutes long, maybe longer on the odd occasion. And what I'm going to talk about in this podcast are topics related to helping you become a more independent language learner. So I'm going to be talking about things like your motivation, setting goals, effective strategies for learning, choosing and finding the right resources, developing the right mindset, creating your learning plan, identifying your strengths and weakness, evaluating progress, tracking your learning, working with a teacher and taking advantage of that opportunity, managing expectations, all of these things. So I want you to really reflect upon your journey as a language learner and what you're doing, maybe what you're not doing, and to make those changes so your language learning becomes more effective. Because often what we do when we're learning a new skill or when we're training or when we're trying to become better at something is we spend a lot of time doing things which aren't that effective. And if we found out what really works for us, that would help us develop quicker. They call it the 80-20 rule. I don't know if you've heard of that, but they think that 20% of what we do actually produces 80% of our positive outcomes. So this is one way to think about it. What are the things that you need to do, not everyone, just you, based on your personality, based on your strengths and weaknesses, based on your preferences, based on your beliefs about how you learn, based on your own circumstances, when you can learn, how you can learn and everything. And by making all these decisions for you, I hope that you will learn quicker and reach C1 or maintain your C1 more effectively. Now, you may have noticed that this is a podcast in which maybe me, the host, I'm not speaking that carefully. I'm trying to be quite spontaneous. I'm trying to be very natural because I'm not actually reading off a text. I'm not reading a script. I haven't prepared all this because I believe that it's really useful to listen to spontaneous, natural, conversational speech. So what I'm doing here, I've got my points here, and I'm trying to express myself without too much planning. And let's face it, when we speak, we often don't have that much time to plan what we're going to say. If we're in a conversation, we don't really know what the other person's going to say, so we have to think quickly and adapt and modify what we're saying for the other person. And that's why I thought it'd be interesting to do a podcast like this. You'll hear some mistakes, you'll hear some slips, you'll hear lots of these small things that maybe you don't hear in all the other podcasts, which sound really perfect. This isn't going to be a perfect podcast because I'm not a perfect teacher and I'm sure you're not a perfect learner, because if we were perfect, we would speak English perfectly. And even me, I'm a native speaker. I'm from the UK, spent all my life speaking English. I'm certainly not a perfect speaker. I could always improve. Well, that's it. That's the idea for the podcast. You can go to c1english.com and you can find the website there. Please subscribe in your favorite podcast player. I plan to make lots of these podcasts, lots of episodes. They're short, and if you've got any ideas for future podcasts, please get in touch. Let me know. Well, I hope that this is the beginning of a beautiful relationship, and that you, I continue to make the podcast for a long time. And if you've listened, thanks so much for listening. I hope you listen to the next episode. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.